theme song.
Yeah, no, I'll put some in there.
This is where the knowledge connects.
Polka music it is! Alright, everyone. Happy Halloween, or November 1st, or November 2nd, or whenever I actually get this video out. For some updates, we are working on episode 2 of the podcast. It's coming along. It came out to be like an hour and a half, and that was with a ton of edits and cuts. But the audio is nearly complete. It took a while to bleep a lot of the stuff out of it. So we are working on the video portion. There's a lot of editing that we got to put in. Also, Dale has been tremendously busy. We have a lot of things that we're coming up. We're trying to get done. We are trying to get some people over to do podcasts. I went to the very tail end of Subi Fest at Daytona Beach International Speedway the other day, a couple weekends ago, with a couple friends of mine, and my neighbor was actually out, and he won, I believe, second place. I've been trying to have him come on the show, but he is just swamped with work at the moment. So whenever we're able to get him on the show, we'll have him come down, we'll have him talk to us about it, just find out how it was, what he was feeling, what the car was doing. I really enjoy hearing about that, really enjoy. So you might be wondering, well, Stash, why are you coming to us? Why are you telling us about the podcast without dropping an episode of the podcast? Very good reason. We've had a couple developments in the NASCAR world recently, and there's an IMSA update that I'm extremely excited about. And even though I could not have Dale on the show, he's been extremely busy doing his own stuff for NASCAR, IMSA, what have you. I did want to talk about this, more specifically, what happened this weekend at Martinsville. So last night, Halloween, Dale came over, we sat down, we were talking about the podcast a little bit. Dale said to me, did you see what happened with Ross Chastain? And I was like, who the heck is Ross Chastain? If you don't know, I'm not a huge NASCAR guy. Before the breaking of Team Penske, I was very into NASCAR, but I could probably only tell you who a select few drivers were. Like all of the Penske boys, Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch. I hate you, Candyman. And Kevin Harvick. That's probably the only ones that I could name. Oh, and Bubba Wallace, which we have an update about that too, and we're going to watch Bubba clobbering some poor dude because he got upset that he wrecked. And he brought up about Ross Chastain, and I said, no, I have no idea. So this has been everywhere. This has been all over the place that Ross Chastain did this crazy Talladega Nights style slingshot maneuver that put him in the running for the championship, as I understand it. Please don't absolutely roast me. Dale is my NASCAR guy, and he's not here right now. So if I get terminology wrong or I get something wrong on that.
The 1 and the 11 fighting for every point right now. Denny Hamlin, 2-point favorite to get in as the championship 4. Bell out of turn 4. He's going to do it. He's won his way into the championship.
Let's go get us a championship.
And the fight for the points right at the line. The 1 of Chastain past Hamlin.
It was a video game move off into turn 3. He put the car against the wall wide open all the way around turn 3 and 4.
Chastain, Elliott, Bell, and Logano are going to fight for a championship in Phoenix. Take a look at what he did.
I have never seen anything like that before in my life.
Wide open around the wall in 3 and 4 at Martinsville. Unbelievable.
Gotta get him? Yeah, I gotta get him. Me too.
Keep coming. Keep coming. Hang on, man. Checkered flag.
we see Ross coming down, and he just, from this view, I'm going to watch it a couple times here and see if I can loop it. But from this view, essentially what you see is he's barreling down this what looks like a fairly straight straightaway. I'm not very familiar with Martinsville, and I'm definitely going to have Dale on to talk about it later at some point. He's coming down what looks like a straight, coming into a curve, and this absolute lunatic of a madman trusts that the structural integrity of the car is going to hold as he just absolutely freaking plows into the curve. Let's watch that again. So here he comes, stomps on it, and just slams. And you can see that the camera on board distorts. He's got all kinds of like crash flaps come up. He's probably completely destroyed the right side of that car. Now you do see one of the things that's kind of sketchy and scary that I've noticed just by watching this video is, so he makes the impact, and there's a couple points at which if you watch enough NASCAR, if you know anything about cars, driving, anything like that, a sudden, I mean boats too, aircraft, a sudden overcorrection when the car is in a, I suppose this has to go with like Newton's law of objects in motion stay in motion unless acted upon by another force. A sudden overcorrection will throw you completely out of balance, and completely, it can make it like you're skidding on ice all over the place, especially when you're going that fast. As my grandfather used to say, you're a rocket at that speed. Okay, you're a projectile moving through space. A couple times really, really scary. Let's play it one more time. A couple times really, really scary through the ordeal, and it's really, really quick. He looks like he is potentially either going to go where the back end is going to slip out and the back end's going to go left, and he is just going to completely pile into that wall, either flip or completely flat spin all over the dang place. And let's see one more time. Boom, right there, that initial hit, and then as he's kind of scraping along the side, at least from the car view, it looks like he was really, really close from being in a really bad wreck. So I've read a lot of comments, people being like, nobody's done this before. Why has nobody done this before? This is an easy, quick way to win. It's really dangerous. The car held up. However, you have to be really, really desperate for a move like that, I think. I think you have to be really, really desperate. Somebody else had said it's all about how bad you want that win. That could have been really, really bad. And if he didn't get by, and I was the owner of the team or some of his sponsors, I would have been like, man, you just destroyed multi-million-dollar equipment and race car, you know, all the hours that it took to build that thing, all the money poured into that. I'd be very upset. However, that being said, not to take away from Mr. Chastain's success, that was a very Chad move. That was a very Sigma Alpha move, and 100% send it. That's some like we were talking about last podcast before that. This is some really American ballsy shit right there from him, and I totally 100% salute it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. I want to see more of shit like that, but of course I don't want to see more of shit like that at the expense of people. I don't want to see us de-evolve and go back to the time period of Mercedes. Was that 1955? Dale said Mercedes launching cars into crowds and killing 84 people. So I think it was ballsy. I think it was nice. I think it was great. I know a couple people out there have been like, "It's cheating." Look, he took a risk. No, it's only. I personally, I only think it's cheating, and you only say it's cheating for those saying that it's cheating. You're only saying it's cheating because you didn't think of it first. Don't lie.
Steering's all messed up, but my head's a little scrambled as well. But it was worth it, and I'll do whatever I can do to accomplish what we want to accomplish. For turn 4 here. The
and into the wall goes Bubba Wallace. And he comes back across the track, tags the 5. They're both in the wall. The caution comes out.
Flips the 20 car of Christopher Bell. Christopher Bell hard into the outside wall.
A playoff driver involved in this. That hard racing by the 5. And the 45 now has caught up the 20 of Christopher Bell.
Well, if that wasn't intentional, I don't know what was. You okay?
Bubba Wallace out of the car. The AMR safety crew to him as he is walking down the racetrack.
They went into turn 3 wide, battling for position, arguing through turn 4.
He's headed right now for the 5 car.
The 5 came up the racetrack. That sent Bubba into the wall. Bubba seems to be a little upset about that, wants to know what was going on over there. There's some big impacts.
Larson's out of the car as well. We saw him take the helmet off. Bubba now about 20 yards away.
As they were spinning, they clipped the 20 car coming by.
Literally, Bubba Wallace, obviously, exceptionally frustrated. NASCAR trying to get him calmed down. They want to get him in the AMR safety vehicle to get him back to the Infield Care Center.
Anytime the drivers get out of the cars, they have to go to the Infield Care Center, and so that's where they're headed. Let's take a look at what happened.
So down the back straightaway, the 4 and the 45 are side by side. Larson's going to go to the bottom here into turn 3. Harvick backs out. The 5 sliding up the racetrack. Bubba just feels like that the 5 didn't give him much room as he would have liked to come off of that corner. Kind of chasing him up the track here.
Yeah, Larson's got him in a bad spot right there and gets him in the wall. Then they go down the front straightaway, and it just looks like to me Bubba hangs a left to retaliate.
Hey.
And I got a problem with that. You're going as fast as they're going, and you hang a guy in the right rear quarter panel. That is exceptionally dangerous. That's racing right there. Larson's fault for sure, but that right there is not acceptable. Takes out Christopher Bell. That's an exceptionally dangerous move.
The shot the 5 takes to the driver's door on the front straightaway is vicious. I mean, it's a hit.
Yeah, I just can't. I just can't. That's not right. I mean, Kyle Larson clearly messed up and got Bubba in the wall. That's on Larson, but a retaliation in the right rear quarter panel on a 1.5 mile racetrack, that is exceptionally dangerous.
And again, it caught up the 20 of Christopher Bell. This is the response. Bubba Wallace didn't like Larson turning away from him.
Kind of surprised by Bubba's frustration. I know that he felt like he had a winning race car.
All right, so bear with me. We're going to watch this a couple times because my initial take on this my initial take on this was, okay, there was a wreck, and then two NASCAR drivers got into a fist fight, which is, like, if that isn't happening every single Sunday, it's not NASCAR. But then when you look closer at it and you kind of look at what's going on. So I have on the left here, before I even start the video, I have Larson in 5th, I have Wallace in 6th, I have Harvick in 7th. I'm not saying that, and what were we in? We were stage 2, 14 to 85, 94 out of 267 laps at this point. So I could understand getting wrecked this early and being upset. However, there was a lot of racing to go. Bubba was not going to win the race simply based on his position at lap 94, not even halfway through this race. Okay. I'm not sure where he polled in Vegas. I'm not sure where he started, how he was doing the first couple of laps. I'm not sure how everyone else was doing, but as we have seen, Bubba Wallace notoriously, at least in the past when I used to watch him, Bubba Wallace notoriously will have a very good first half, first quarter, even 3/4 of a race. And I personally think that the reason why he has a good time is certain drivers, there's like two methods to this that I've seen that are highly successful. You hang back, you watch other people take themselves out, you conserve your tires, conserve fuel, stay mid of the pack, okay, and then go for gold in the final few laps. Because just like in any sport, in any kind of competition, especially like in boxing, I like to think of it like boxing. You're trying to go the distance. You're trying to make it through all the rounds. Bubba Wallace seems to kind of like that scene in Fast and Furious where he pushes the nitro too early. He kind of seems in the past to just push the nitro too early. And whether it's wrecking right before the end of the race, wrecking halfway through, but Bubba Wallace is notorious for doing stuff like this. I don't know. He said it's the car. He has a new car. He has a new team. I've heard he's been doing better. But my initial thoughts were yes. It was just two NASCAR drivers getting into it, which is whatever. Who cares? It's what kind of comes from the footage, and we're gonna roll it. That makes you wonder. All right, we're gonna rewind it, and I'm just gonna, because I have not watched this whole thing, start to finish. But let's watch what happens here. So, the number 45, Bubba Wallace, is up next to Kyle Larson, and they're coming into a turn. They just get too close. We're going to replay that. They just get too close. He didn't... they're saying, oh, Larson intentionally hit him. When you're going at like 100 and something miles an hour, 150, 100... I don't even know... I'm sorry. It does say it on here. When you're going 170 miles an hour, 180 almost... Let's rewind it again. When you're going almost 180 miles an hour, you're that close. Now, okay, before they go into the turn, it does look like he kind of shifts over a little bit. Larson, I mean. It does look like Larson kind of goes to the right a little bit. But very honestly, it could have been a jerk. It could have been him. What I personally see is him trying to make the turn, and Bubba was just way, way, way too close on him. And I don't know if he gave him a nudge or not, but it just quite honestly, if you go back and you look at it, it doesn't even look like they touch. So what I think happened here was that just the air in between them, like the wake turbulence from the cars moving through air, I think that when Bubba when they both went to turn, Bubba turned earlier than Larson did, and Larson was still going straight. And literally just the air wake turbulence off of the two. I know that's big words that I'm using here. I'm not trying to be smart, but like air stuff, aerodynamics. Like, I think it just caused ripple because it was dirty air that they encountered, that they created for one another off their aerodynamics. And the disruption from them trying to turn, going back to that objects in motion stay in motion unless acted upon by an equal or opposite force, taking that into consideration, the turn would have been that opposite force. The force of them trying to move would have disrupted the airflow enough that it caused the two cars to almost touch, or to come within close enough proximity that the next thing that happens immediately after that is Bubba Wallace just shoots into a wall. Bubba Wallace shoots into a freaking wall. He hits the wall, and this is the next like really critical part. So he hit the wall. I got it stopped. They're now at like 169, 161 miles an hour. Larson's off him now. So they kind of rode together towards the wall. Bubba just hit the wall. Bubba bounces off the wall and nudges him, which I can understand. You're trying to overcorrect really quick, and that happens. Now, when you're in a wreck like that, he could have tried to save it. Yes, maybe. But I would have reduced speed. I think if he had reduced speed, he may not have wrecked the car. What it does look like, though, play it one more time. He bumps him, and then he kind of just kamikaze dives to try and take him out. And I don't know why nobody's addressing this. I don't know why nobody's talking about this. But that's kind of messed up. It almost looks as if Bubba Wallace just kamikazes into him. And he takes out Christopher Bell too. He clips Christopher Bell, which it was just like they said. I think it was hard racing. I think they got in too close proximity. Bubba, if you're going to take chances, so we have two different drivers here. We have Chastain taking a chance, right? Accepting the consequences for what he's going to do. Big risk, big fucking reward. If you are that early in the race, you're literally fighting for fifth spot, for fifth place. You were in sixth. You were fighting for fifth. You're 96 laps, 95 laps at 267. You were only 15 laps out of 85 in stage 2. Why, if you were not prepared to take the risk, to take the chance, this was high risk, low reward situation. And I think that I know what it sounds like. It sounds like Bubba Wallace's crew chief says that wasn't intentional. I don't know what is. Even if Larson had bumped him a little bit, I think that, assuming that Larson bumped him a little bit, this is NASCAR, this is racing, okay? You got really close. Let's say he did nudge you and was just telling you to, hey, back off. This is NASCAR. All right, this is not IMSA where you get penalized for that because it's supposed to be a gentleman's sport. NASCAR is not a gentleman's sport. NASCAR is Southern redneck racing. Dirty Southern redneck racing. That's what it is. And if you get offended by me saying that, then you're not a true NASCAR fan. That's 100% what it was. Dale Earnhardt was a redneck. Okay, he was king of the fucking rednecks. All right. I would even dare to say that Richard Petty was also a redneck. Okay, this is bullshit where we have to, like, the rules of engagement in NASCAR are, for lack of better words, do what you have to do to win. And the fact that nobody is getting upset at Ross Chastain for doing what he did shows, yes, it's how bad do you want the win? Well, Bubba was trying to get the win. Bubba was trying to get no position. And a better driver gave him a nudge. I don't think he gave him a nudge. I think he just got too close. But from what they're saying, Larson gave him the nudge. If Larson did give him the nudge, Larson, he sent him into the wall. He had what it took to do what had to be done to win, and Bubba didn't. And Bubba went into the wall. Bubba played a game that he had no business playing, and Bubba went into the wall. What follows on, to me, really, and nobody's brought this up, I think the few people who have said something about it is like, oh no, he just like really overcorrected and then he just torpedoed. I think that just overall, Bubba wasn't prepared to do what had to be done, and from the way it looks like, he got upset and then he kamikazed straight into Kyle Larson to take him out. That's what I think happened. Now, I didn't realize, I thought it was after in the pits that Bubba Wallace confronted him. Because I've only seen short clips. I have not seen the full thing. This is the full 4.5 minute clip of this. When we watch and we look at this, unfortunately, Bubba's out of the car almost immediately. He's just strolling along, and the emergency personnel are there to have a look at them. Clearly Bubba's fine. Kyle's not out of the car. Kyle's still sitting there, and to be honest, his car's messed up. Bubba's got his helmet off. He is walking towards Kyle Larson, okay? So first off, and the announcers are talking about, Bubba seems pretty upset, and it looks like he wants to know what was going on over there. What was going on over there was hard racing. What was going on over there was NASCAR racing. I'm sorry if you want to go gentleman race, go over to IMSA. They don't do stuff like that there. Also in IMSA, they are driving extremely expensive cars. Extremely, far more expensive vehicles than in NASCAR. Them is the facts, okay? But as he's coming over, Kyle's out of the car. Kyle doesn't look upset. He just, this is the difference between a driver who was like, man, I got no wreck, shit, and a driver who was like, clearly is having what you could just refer to as common road rage. That's all this is. This is just common road rage. He's walking over. Kyle's just whatever. He's not throwing anything, having a hissy fit. He's just like, man, a shitty day. Whatever. Getting checked out, trying to get checked out. There's Bubba Wallace, arms out, this and that, and then he attacks him, and Kyle Larson doesn't want anything to do with it. Kyle doesn't want anything to do with it. He's pushing him and shit like he's a child. And he doesn't even so here's the thing also, okay? If this had happened and this had happened with the Intimidator, and the Intimidator was mad and he was gonna go let Kyle Larson know, he would have just decked Kyle Larson and walked away. What happened? Are we not doing that anymore? Are we just not slugging people anymore? Like, mind you, I'm not condoning the actions. I'm not saying this was the right response, but he's giving these little sissy pushes to him. Kind of like, you stole my toy. You broke my toy. It's my turn on the computer. Like, what is going on with that? What is that? I just don't understand it. But I don't understand his response. They did get him away. He's really upset, and they're telling him to go a different direction. He won't listen. He's just arguing. NASCAR. He won't listen to NASCAR officials. Just act like a child. Act like a man. Be a man. You know, here's the other thing, too, that bothers me about this, and they're going to replay and they're going to show. Here's the thing that really bothers me about this is that Kyle Larson took a while to get out of the car, and Kyle Larson looked like he was moving a little bit slow. What if Kyle Larson had a back injury or something? What if he was very injured? You know, I don't... Immediately going over and clobbering somebody after a wreck, I don't think is cool. Go do it in the pits after. You know, like, go bitch at him in the pits after. And you know what? If you get dumped and you're in 5th place, he's in 6th place. You're in 6th place, not even halfway through a race. Why do you give a shit? Seriously. Why do you care? Like, you got dumped. It was hard racing. Oh well, you can't win them all. I think that this is clearly the frustration of a man who has been he's just been losing. He's not good. Bubba's not good. Okay. It's not the car. It's not the car. Bubba's not a good driver. That's personally what I've seen. I just don't think that I think as he gets more frustrated, it makes it worse. I used to love Bubba Wallace. I thought he was awesome. I thought he was a great dude, great personality. It didn't matter to me that he wasn't winning. Just a cool dude. He was a good dude. He made it 2nd place in the Daytona 500, and I think that was 2018. 2018, I want to say that was. And he was just... Dale said that he met him, said he was a really cool dude, said his mom was up in the media center and he was crying and hugging her, this and that, and thanking like Jesus and thanking her, and just a really down-to-earth guy. And now it just seems like he's really frustrated. I think he's really frustrated with his situation, and he's just getting angry about it. And it's just turning into this road rage type of shit. Personally, it's just turning into this road rage type of stuff. And personally, you know, Bubba, I don't have a problem with you going off and having an out with Kyle Larson. Go out and deck him. But number one, don't walk across the raceway not even paying attention as cars are whizzing past you, because 2 or 3 of them went by. And he's just not paying attention, not listening to the officials who are trying to get him checked out, and he just goes over there and he's pushing him and stuff. Wait until he gets out of the infirmary and then do it. Wait until he gets out of the infirmary, my guy, and then push him around all you want. Or, you know, be a man and frickin' hit him. So honestly, on that rewatch, it does look like Bubba kind of makes contact first. Is the initial bump, and then there's another contact made by Larson. I can't really tell. I can't judge. I'm watching it on a tiny screen. That's what it looks like to me. But again, I'm also saying if Larson had nudged him out of the way, it's racing. It's NASCAR, dude. It's NASCAR, my guy. Okay, so that's essentially what they say, is that the 5, Larson didn't give him enough room. Okay. NASCAR. That's my answer.
Yeah, Larson's got him in a bad spot right there. It gets him in the wall. Then they go down the front straightaway, and it just looks like to me Bubba hangs a left to retaliate. And I got a problem with that. You're going.
Yeah, so, okay, I guess somebody did say it, and then it kind of just got poo-pooed. Like, people were like, no, he didn't do that. He wouldn't do that. He's Bubba Wallace. We love Bubba. No, that it does look like that's what he did, because you can see briefly he goes straight for a little bit. And it looks like he goes straight. He regains control of the car, and then he's just like, Tendo Ega Banzai! Edit in a clip of kamikaze pilots or something. He just completely says fuck it, and he goes straight into Kyle Larson, and I got a problem with that.
As fast as they're going, and you hang a guy in the right rear quarter pound, that is exceptionally dangerous. That's racing right there. Larson's fault for sure. That right there is not acceptable. Takes out Christopher Bell. That's exceptionally dangerous move. The shot, the 5.
And poor Christopher Bell's just driving. I have no idea who this dude is. I never heard his name before in my entire life. And the dude's just driving along, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, shit, fuck damn.
The driver's door on the front straightaway is vicious. I mean, it's a hit.
Yep. No, it's okay. So they slowed it down. Let's back up a little bit, and we're going to show this. I'll probably get this clip up there.
Dangerous move. The shot the 5 takes to the driver's door on the front straightaway.
No.
Vicious. I mean, it's a hit.
So I don't understand why they're like, oh, it was vicious. I've seen way more vicious air quotes shit in NASCAR. Vicious hit? No, that was a nudge. However, what comes next?
Yeah, I just can't. I just can't. That's not right. I mean, Kyle Larson clearly messed up. They got Bubba in the wall. That's on Larson, but a retaliation in the right rear quarter panel on a 1.5 mile racetrack, that is exceptionally dangerous.
Yeah. Not.
Caught up the 20, Christopher Bell. This is the response. Bubba Wallace didn't like Larson turning away from him.
And here's the other thing too. What kind of man hits another man from behind, is pushing another man from behind, who's clearly just trying to walk away, and he's just trying to Larson wanted no part of it. It was not like Kyle Larson was getting. Listen, if Larson had just turned around and decked him back, I would have been like, all right, that's NASCAR, whatever. But the fact that Larson tried to de-escalate, I'm a big believer in, if the other person's trying to de-escalate and you continue to try and escalate, that immediately puts you in the wrong. Which also could continue to lead towards the previous, they were just talking about how dangerous that crash was and how dangerous it was to do that at that speed, which I already mentioned. You could sit there all day long and say this and that about, how Bubba was feeling. Larson got out of the car really slow, and I think that Larson could have been injured. And I think the reason why he didn't want to engage was maybe he was hurting a little bit. Whether or not something was broken, sprained, concussion, whatever, there's no way you walk out of a car like that after a crash like that and you don't feel hurt. You don't feel messed up. So I personally think that he felt a little messed up, and that's why. All right, but moving on, I don't want to talk too much more about this negativeness. Just Bubba Wallace, I think your actions, especially after, where afterwards he was questioned about it. He was, I don't know, his response to it also. I watched that, and his response to it also, I watched that, was not impressed. What wasn't impressed was not, don't find that acceptable in any way. But moving on, Let's give a quick update what's going on with the cars. The 82 is having an issue where the idle air control, when it goes up to 25%, it won't come down. And the RPM just climbs. And every time you push on the gas, every time you push in the clutch, essentially I was driving around the car with no gas and controlling the car with the clutch and the brake. Every time you push in the clutch, it wants to grenade the motor. Don't know how to fix it. I started by checking to see if the butterflies are getting stuck. The butterflies are not getting stuck. Somebody led me on to my mechanic. My mechanic told me to go fix the O2 sensor. Swap out the O2 sensor. Swapped out the O2 sensor. Still didn't fix it. We are approximately like 3 weeks away from Turkey Trot Run, and the car is not drivable. They asked me to bring it up to South Carolina for them to have a look at it, and I was like, I can't get this there. There's no way. It's just not going to make it up there. So they're working with me to try and look at some stuff. Quite honestly, I think the IAC motor is done. I think it's toast. Because I don't think it's the tuning. I really don't think it's the tuning. East Coast did a good job. The car was fine when I drove it down here, so I don't think it's a digital thing. I think the problem is a mechanical thing. The mechanical function in the engine has failed. I'm about 2 seconds away from ripping out the engine and ripping off the Holley Sniper EFI. Holley, if you're listening to this, can I just get an actual carb? These things are trash. These things are such a pain in the ass. Like, Holley, I'm so disappointed with this product. It is the biggest waste of time. It's the biggest time suck that I've had in a long time. That just trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with this thing, and then still at the end of the day, you still don't know what's going on with it. It's going to take somebody with more knowledge of engines than I have, because plus I don't even know what the EFI, the Sniper EFI is. It is a carburetor that has fuel injectors in it, or it is a EFI that has butterflies in it. It's this hybrid thing that doesn't know what it is, and I don't think it works. I don't think that this system works. I think that just making it a carb would be easier at this point. I'm really disappointed with it. Disappointed with your product, Holley. Moving forward, also, there's a rumor. We're going to throw up the picture. Put up the picture! Sorry it takes me a second because we don't have an intern here. Ford is returning to factory-backed GT3 racing with all-new Mustang GT3 IMSA race car that will also be available for customers. Whoa! For customers starting with 24 hours of Daytona in 2024. Created by Ford Performance and Multimatic, the Ford Mustang GT3, powered by a, get ready for this one, hold on to your seats, get ready for it, a 5.4 liter Coyote-based V8. 5.4! Not a 5.2. A 5.4 Coyote-based. Do you guys know where the grandfather of the Coyote, truly the actual grandfather of the Coyote, do you know where the grandfather of the Coyote comes from? And if you think I'm wrong, if you have a differing opinion on this, I'd love to hear it. But truly, from everything that I've found in all the conversations that I've had with people, it's widely recognized that the grandfather of the, or I guess great-grandfather of the Coyote, the great-grandfather of the Coyote is the 2000 Cobra R engine. DOHC, 4-valve, or 32-valve, however you want to say it. Behemoth. Like, that engine is the beginning, and it was a 5.4. So they're going back to the 5.4. I love it. I like it. I love it. Then you had the Terminator come in. I'd probably say that the Terminator's like the Coyote's dad. I'd say that. I'd say the Terminator's the Coyote's dad. Or is the Terminator... I don't know. I keep changing my mind on this. Yeah, the Terminator is the Coyote's dad, but the Coyote is the youngest brother in a family of 3 sons. The 5.4 GT 500, 5.4 GT, I use those together because they're based off they're the same concept engine. The 5.8 Trinity and the Coyote, those are all. Then you have the. I guess it's 4 kids because you got the Voodoo, and then you have the Illuminator. And then there won't be anything left because it's all over. So I would definitely say the Terminator is the dad. The Terminator fathered all those children, and then the 2000 Cobra R is like grandpa. Because I can't think of any engine that came before that was a DOHC. I guess the 4.6 modular, but I wouldn't consider that a contender because the 4.6 modular 4-valve, because the 2-valve 4.6 modular made more power in 1999 than the 4.6 4-valve did, because the 4.6 4-valves at the time were bad engines. So there you have it. That's going to require a lot of editing because I went back and forth and I argued with myself quite a bit. Dale wasn't even here and I argued, which just tells you a lot. But this is very exciting. 5.4 liter Coyote based V8 engine. I'd love to rip one of those out of one of those cars and put that in Scarlet. That'd be cool. Will deliver the full endurance racing potential of a Ford Mustang for customers globally. That's really cool. I'm ready for it. I hope they pair it for customers. I hope they pair it with a 6-speed, like a T56, and not an MT82, because the MT82 drives me nuts, and I hope there's at least an option for a T56 and not just an A10. But if that's all we're going to get, it's just the A10s, so be it.
4, Bell out of turn 4, he's going to do it! He's won his way into the championship!
Let's go get us a championship.
And the fight for the points right at the line!
My lord, is that legal?
Around the wall in 3 and 4 at Martinsville.
I will make it legal.
That's pretty much going to wrap it up for us guys today. The show is sponsored by me. If you ain't first, you're last, Ricky Bobby. That's right, I sponsor the show because Porsche still hasn't sponsored us yet. Oh well. I think this is the part, if I had an intern right here, I would yell at him I would be like, cut! Cut! And then we just, oh, one more thing.